Hi. Oh. Oh my gosh, it's so funny trying to get that thing started. Hilarious, really. Anyway, good morning, everybody. Just trying out my new way to get going on here. Hey, Jane. Hi. Good morning. Yep, it's always very interesting to get the video going. So we have something you're gonna love today, Jane. That's for sure. Okay, so we're going to work with a couple different things. I'm gonna put this on low. And so what I did was, good morning. I did pre-cook these. Usually, I like to make fast 15-minute meals that are super easy, but sometimes you have to cook things in advance. And so when I do things that take longer than 15 minutes, I try and do them while I'm doing something else. So I've got like 2 or 3 things cooking at once, and that really saves time. So I did cook these beets, and what we're gonna do is, you can see okay there, I think. I'm going to cut these up, and I'm going to make a little mock beet salad that's going to almost mimic my uncle's famous recipe, or actually my grandfather's famous recipe that my uncle taught me. So we're going to slice up these beets, and oh my God, my hands are going to turn all red. That's okay. Make sure you've washed your hands and all your stuff before you start, which I did. And so when you put the beets in, these are just small beets. I'm so happy to have gotten 40 pounds of beets from, I just realized I'm going to have to rinse my hands off before I start the next thing. But that's okay. I'll probably still have red hands. So, yeah, so I got 40 pounds of beets from Ann Marshall. And so I'm super excited about that because we're going to do a beet canning day. Just going to take the end off that. So I'm just going to cut this up and make it'll be sort of a sweet sour beet salad. Kind of like pickled beets without being so pickled. So that's exciting. So, yeah, so basically what you're going to do is put the beets, these are pretty tiny, but I picked out the smaller ones I had. Take your beets, put them in water, right? And you're just going to bring them to a boil and boil them until they are, till you put a knife or a fork in them, and you can go right into the middle. You don't want them any more cooked than that, although, having said that, I have cooked a lot of beets in my life, and this one here has a little bit of the root left. It's a little tough here, so I'm going to cut that part off. I don't want to take the good part of the beet off, just this end is a little woody or uncooked or something, and I don't want to cut myself, so I'm going to do it down here and hope not to make my cutting board too red for the next thing that we're going to make. Okay, that part's a little woody. I'm going to put that over there. Anyway, so you put your beets in your hot water, and you boil them until you can get a fork or a knife into the middle. And then if you put them right away in cold water, the skins just fall off. So you don't have to peel your beets. So that's super cool that you can cook the beets without having to peel them. And then the only thing is, every once in a while you get kind of a little tough root here. And, maybe I didn't cut it far enough into the stem. Right, so we have our beet here, and so this one actually has 2 stems on it. It's a little mutate thing. It has 2 heads, 2 stems. So it must have been 2 seeds that grew together. Isn't that pretty? Oh, it's so romantic. And it has 2 roots too. It's almost like a heartbeat. It's a heartbeat. Oh my God. Oh wow. Okay, yeah, it's a heartbeat. Anyways, that just totally happened by accident. I wasn't even looking at that. What I was looking at, the reason that I brought this out was to talk about the beet stems, and the benefits of the beet stems are just as important as the beet root. So they have a lot of iron, they have folic acid, they are good for the blood, obviously, good for the liver. Yeah, beets have just so much in them. And so what I did, I was going to show you, and I might be able to show you after, but I took all the beet greens off of the 40 pounds and I dried them to the leaves, to put them into salads and soups and things like that. Well, not so much salads, not once they're dry, but into soups. I'm getting ahead of myself. So it really adds that nutrition, that iron, and all of the, they've got magnesium and calcium and everything. And so all of those greens can go into your soup for additional nutrition, right? Additional vitamins and minerals. And so don't waste the greens. If they're fresh, you can put those in salads. That's why I was thinking salads, because I saved a bunch of them for salads. So you can use the beet greens for salads, which is awesome. Stick them in, just like you would lettuce. And I do cut them up a little bit fine, though, because they're a little tougher, chewier than lettuce. And then the stems themselves, I'm just going to cut them into little, like, 1-inch chunks. Line them up and cut them in 1-inch chunks, and I'm going to dry them too to put in soup. So it'd be like little pieces of dehydrated beet tops, right? Beet stems, which are full of nutrition. So I don't want to waste anything. You don't want to waste food during these times. I just saw somebody else come on here. Maple, I think, is on here. And it's so funny, yeah, hey, hi. I don't know if you guys are still having problems with getting online, but it just keeps kicking me off everything. Thank goodness that one works, which is super good. But look at that little tiny beet. Okay, so now I am seriously going to have to, yeah, I'm going to use tools for the rest of this. I guess I could have cut that up with a knife with a fork and not gotten my hands all mucky, but I'm kind of a hands-on person, so, and I like to make a mess. Okay, I'll be right back. Hang on, I'm just going to rinse this and hope that it comes off, and if it doesn't, well, you guys know why. Okay, so now what we need is, we need someone to tell me what takes beet juice off. Okay, anyway, not going to worry about that. So you've got your little beets, and they're nicely cooked, tender firm. And hey, Mona, nice to see you on here. So yes, I just cooked these little tiny beets. I was talking about, I ordered 40 pounds, talking about how important the stems are to keep. They have great nutrition, really just as much, if not more, than the beet itself, because it has your iron, it has your calcium, it has your magnesium, it has vitamin A, vitamin C. It is a little, it's a little concerning that they are really modifying them. Unfortunately, if you buy them in some places, then they're genetically modified. But if you can get them locally, like I did here in Port Alberni, get to know your farmers. It's so important right now to get to know your farmers, and to support the local farmers market, and to get organic beets. So yeah, so that's a pretty cute one. Okay, so now I have red hands, so that's okay. What we're going to do is we're going to just make a super simple recipe. I'm going to add a little bit of maple syrup. It's going to be, you guys are so used to me not measuring. I'm going to say, I don't want them too sweet, but I want them a little sweet. So I'm going to go for 1 tablespoon, 2 tablespoons is what I'm aiming for. I'm going to wipe that off my hands again. Okay, and then just a little bit of the apple cider vinegar. So this particular one is Nona Pia's, and it's obviously it's organic, and it has the mother in it, which is most of you guys are used to that. The apple cider vinegar with the mother is the natural, raw, unfiltered, and it has the mother, which is similar to a SCOBY, like a kombucha SCOBY. So it has all the benefits of the raw apple cider vinegar, which is good for your digestion. It really helps with digesting and the acids in the stomach, and plus the fact that it's got its own probiotics in it. And so we're going to be making our own apple cider vinegar whenever the apples are ready. Again, I did do some apples last week, but I dehydrated them all, and then I made apple pie filling. So when I get some more apples, enough to make apple cider vinegar, we'll do that. So this is, what do you think? You think I put like 2, maybe I need 1 more tablespoon. I think I just put 1 tablespoon in here. I was trying to be careful. Not too vinegary. Okay, so I'm going to have a sip of my chakra tea, which is, my chakra tea has the butterfly pea plant, the butterfly pea flower in it, and that's what makes it turn blue. So it has all kinds of health benefits too, really good for your eyes and all kinds of things. Anyways, okay, back to the beets. I'm telling you, we're going to do 2 recipes because this one's way too easy. So we're just going to add the maple syrup, and we're going to add a little bit of cinnamon, and yeah, we're going to just give that a stir. And honestly, you guys, this is like way too easy. What I'm going to do is I'm actually, because you can see the juice here, I'll put it into a smaller dish and just let those juices absorb until tonight. And this is kind of like a little cheater introduction, or just a little hint about how we're going to do pickled beets when we do pickled beets, because the beets that the old family recipe is pretty special. Okay, I don't really want to sit here and chew on a beet in front of you guys. So I'm just going to taste the sauce. Very good. A little sweeter, you can add a little more maple syrup. You could also, if you wanted to add coconut sugar, but the coconut sugar tends to, it takes a little while to break down, so it would be crunchy for a little while, like maybe take half an hour. The coconut sugar has a lower glycemic index, not more than the maple syrup, but much more so than than any other sugars. So it's really, really good for you. But I really do prefer the mildness of the maple syrup. So that's, you know, crazy easy, simple. You know, you guys are just, it's just, yeah, way too easy. Oh, splashing. Okay, so it's just a little tiny beet salad that you guys can do now that the beets are coming ready. I splashed it everywhere. Anyway, okay, so that's that. And what we're going to do now, we're going to turn that on, and I will just wipe the beets off here. I spilled a little, that's okay. Okay, so we have walnuts, and oh, I was going to show you guys a couple of things here. First of all, I mean not first of all, but right now, can you see that? Can I get the whole thing in the picture? This is a mullein plant, M-U-L-L-E-I-N. Sometimes I pronounce it mullein just because I want to fully feel the letters in my mouth, because I love this plant so much. This is mullein, and it is has super soft, fuzzy leaves, and it gets really high, and it's usually grown in the desert, so it's usually grown in the Okanagan. However, it does transplant here pretty good, and I have many of these, and I highly encourage you to check it out, because it is so healing for the lungs. Like, it protects the oh, what are those little things called? The little alveoli, the little lung membrane. Oh, those little hair things. Anyways, it protects those. it will heal. It's been used for tuberculosis. Like, it's been used for lung issues, pneumonia. Traditionally, it's been used to heal and work with anything to do with the lungs. So I encourage you guys to check it out and get a plant if you can. You can also buy it dried. What you would do is you dry the leaves and use it in a tea for the lungs. And it works amazing. Just a simple tea, pour hot water over it. You can simmer it if you want. If you want it stronger, you need it stronger. If you're really having a lung issue, you might want to simmer it so that it pulls out more of the medicine from the leaves. You can buy it dried at the health food store. I do have some available, some plants. I grow quite a few plants, so I do have some. If somebody wants a little starter or something, then you can contact me for that. But mullein is just the most amazing thing, and so when we do the Facebook Live, I usually like to throw in a couple herbs or weeds or whatever, just to share more information. Okay, so we have the walnuts here. I'm going to pull this towards me so you can see a little bit better. And what we're doing is, I had them up on the side because I didn't want them to burn while I was doing the beets. We just have plums. So these are little yellow plums that I was gifted. I'm so happy when people gift me food. I think, I think that's the way that we should be doing things, is trading for food. Oh, that was the other thing I was going to show you. I haven't looked yet. It'll be a surprise. We'll move the little mullein guy over here. And I am dehydrating. Okay, so that's the beet leaves. So so for sure, dehydrate your beet leaves and your radish leaves and any of those garden leaves, turnip leaves, whatever. And what I'm going to do is crumble it up so it's a little bit finer and then use it in soup. So the leaves will have just as much, if not more, of the beautiful nutrition as the beets, right? So yeah, so save all the little parts of your plants because most of it is super food and more, really, especially if you're saving radish tops and turnip tops and that kind of thing. They've got actually more nutrition than our typical things that we eat. Not the same, but they're just more concentrated. And because usually what we end up eating is like carrots, cauliflower, broccoli, and the same 5 vegetables, or the same 12 anyways, often. So it's good to switch it up and get the different nutrition from the different foods and the different parts of the foods. Hey Carolina, hi, see, it's nice to see you on here. Okay, so I'm just heating up these plums, and we're going to make a little plum sauce. So in this one, I am going to add, it's going to get funny in a minute, I think. It usually does. When I start working with machines, it gets interesting. Okay, I'm going to add some coconut sugar. And like I said, it has a lower glycemic index, so it's much better to work with than obviously white sugar, but better than brown sugar as well. If you wanted to use, if you're really concerned about sugar or you're diabetic, what you can use is monk fruit. And monk fruit is really, really nice. It's quite concentrated. It's almost concentrated to the point of like an icing sugar, but it's made from monk fruit. And so it is a really good suggestion for if you are diabetic or you have blood sugar issues and you want to have something a little sweet that's not too bad. What kind of container do I store my beets in? You know what? I just keep them in a dry, cool place when they're fresh. But I ordered 40 pounds, and I'm going to do the old family pickling beet recipe, and so that 40 pounds of beets is going to go into jars. We're going to can it, and we'll do it together. I do have a couple relatives coming over. It'll be one day next week, and they're going to help me. So they don't know that they're going to be on Facebook a little bit, but maybe I'll just, if they're super shy, I'll just do a 10 or 15 minute of how you do it kind of thing. because it's a great recipe. It's been protected for years and years and years. But I'm about to let the cat out of the bag. Okay, so I've just tripped over my tongue. I've just put 2 1/8 of coconut sugar in there, whatever that means. What are 2 1/8? I'm a terrible measurer. I am an intuitive cook, and I'm not a professional cook at all. I just cook things that are fast and healthy, and I love to add herbs and nutrition. How do I store dried greens? Good question. So for the dried greens, you can stick them in a freezer baggie and kind of, put the Ziploc across and put a straw in and try and suck all the air out and store them that way, or try and vacuum pack them a little bit if you don't have a vacuum packer. I do have a vacuum packer, and but having said that, the bags for those food savers are super expensive. I love them, but I'm turning this right off. I love them, but they're super expensive. So I tend to put them in freezer baggies, or, hey, Monique and Karen, hi, good morning. The other thing that you can do is you can just put them in a canning jar and try and stuff them to the top to make sure there's as little air as possible for the dried herbs and the dried leaves. And so you can put them in a canning jar and go, from sizes, just stuff it so that there's hardly any air, and of course store them in a cool, dark place, both the baggies and the jars. The other thing I do have that I ordered is there's it's really hard to get now. It's hard to get anything for canning right now. But I did manage to get it's a food saver attachment, and it sucks onto the canning jars, and it will suck all the air out. That's a little more complicated, but somebody said, oh yeah, I don't know. Somebody said something about I should ask Daniel, actually. It's a car thing, and it sucks the air out or something, and apparently you can attach it to a canning lid to suck it out. But anyway, seriously, the greens will last easily 2 to 3 years if you try to get the most air out that you can and just store them in a baggie or stuff them into a jar. The idea is to keep the most oxygen out and keep the light out. Keep them in a cool, dark place. So, okay, so these are coming down really nice, and now I'm going to take a deep breath and try my Vitamix. We always have so much fun when I start Vitamixing, especially when it's kind of like dried-ish goods. Always try to kill my Vitamix. Okay, these are dates. Okay, so I did soak them a little bit and chopped them up, and I soaked them, but they're pretty, as you can see, they're still really solid. I just decided I didn't want to really fight my Vitamix too much, so I did get them a little bit gooey. So we're going to put this into the Vitamix, and then we're going to add, okay, so you guys probably want me to measure again. This is, if I can read the clear writing on here. This is in metric, which means nothing to me. This is roughly 1 cup. It says 8 ounces. I think 8 ounces is a cup. Okay, so it's like almost a cup of beets. Okay, so we're going to add basically a handful of walnuts. Okay, it's a big handful. I'll show you. Okay, so we're going to add some oats. These are the steel cut oats. You can get these, in big bags at Healthy Habits, or you can get them in giant bags through Wayne at Vancouver Grain and Milling. I think it's Vancouver Island Grain and Milling with Wayne Smith. So you can get this in a 50-pound bag there, or you can get it in smaller amounts at Healthy Habits, or Healthy Habits could probably order in the big bags too. Okay, so I did shut that off and it's still going, so I guess it's just doing what it wants to do. without my permission. Okay, so we're going to add a little bit of this, but not too much, because I think what I'll do is I'll add that after. It just came to me. It just popped into my head. Don't do that. You'll be sorry. Oh, God. Okay, me and the blender. All right, let's try this. We're going to... try and pulse it a bit, just to mix it. And this is the grand experiment. The other thing I could do, should have done maybe, is the hand grinder, but I always think of these things after I'm live. Okay, here we go. Okay, I'm gonna see what we can do here. Well, I was afraid of that. Okay. It's one of those technological things, you know? So what we're going to do is we're going to do this by hand. I have beet hands, but that's okay. I just washed them, and they're stained, and it's not going to affect what we're making next. Okay, so luckily I have another bowl here. So we'll put our to finish jar here. Okay. Plan B. We're always used to Plan B around here. Let me get my fancy thing. Okay. I should have used the hand grinder. You know, this happens often because, I'll tell you why. Because I love to experiment with new things, and I love new recipes, and I love new challenges. And, you know, I don't really see the point doing it by myself to make it perfect and then do it for you and it'll be perfect, although nothing I do is ever perfect. I don't do perfection at all, but I'd rather experiment. And hey, let's try this. I have always been a hey, let's try this, right, Jane? And I jump in first, and then I figure out how to do it later or not, but I always jump in first with way too much enthusiasm and a lack of learning how beforehand. But that's okay. Like, you know what? Like, when you're in your 60s, you don't care anymore. I'm speaking for myself. I care less, let's put it that way. Because, you know, it's all about enjoying life and just having fun. So when I want to try something new, that's how this all started. I wanted to try new things, new recipes, and actually I've been doing fast, healthy 15-minute meals for a long time. Like online for, I don't know, 3 years maybe or something. So there's like 150 recipes on there. Okay, I'm just going to use my clean hands. So there's like 150 recipes on there, and then how this Facebook Live started was thanks to the quarantine. People were like, you know, let's just get together in the morning and show me what you're doing, because we're all sitting at home doing, you know, whatever we do or did at home. And so it became a little coffee crowd. And I'm super enjoying it, having so much fun with you guys, and glad that people love watching me try new things and make mistakes. I like to say I make the mistakes so you don't have to, but I'd make them anyways. So here we go. Okay, so this is the thing. And you know what I saw, which I don't have because I'm not a professional cook at all. I'm a certified herbalist, and I'm certified in natural health and stuff like that, but not cooking at all. Although I am in nutrition, but not cooking. Did I say that again? And certainly not baking. So anyway, I'm going to tell you something that will surprise you, because I'm sure everybody in the world has one of these in their kitchen except for me, because I didn't even know what it was. But I recently saw a pastry cutter. I was like, oh, that would have been really handy when we made the scones. So we did make scones, and we'll do them again. Okay, I'm going to put this in here. Make you guys laugh with my recipes. Okay, so this is just, this reminds me of when I did the avocado flatbread and I couldn't get it all off my hands. But it turned out really good. It was like the avocado flatbread that we made. Oh my God, so healthy and so yummy that it was so good. It was just avocados and gluten-free flour, and like that's it. And we made it into bread, and I ended up not even using any oil for the first run because I forgot. And it still cooked perfectly. And the avocado flatbread was so good that my husband, who doesn't like avocados, didn't even know what it was. He wanted to know what kind of beans I put in. It was not beans, it's avocados. Okay, so there's our crust, okay? And so I am going to rinse my hands really quick. Sorry, you guys. But sometimes we just have to do things the hard way, speaking for myself. Okay, so, oh God, oh, we have so much fun every morning. Anyway, okay, so this is good. So what we're going to do is we're going to pour our beautiful plum sauce on top. And I didn't mean to cook it this long, but sometimes when I'm doing so many things at once, things just do what they want. So we're just going to run with that. And I'm just going to pour this. Can you see what I'm doing? I'll go this way so you can kind of see better. Okay, I'm just going to gently pour this over. And this is going to be kind of like a, oh God, what's the name of it? The date squares. Date squares. It's going to be like a date square. I can get it on here evenly. Square dates. Anyways, okay, so your plums. We didn't talk about the plums yet. Obviously, everybody knows that plums are really good for your colon. Good to keep you moving, right? They're good for constipation, but they are just good, healthy fiber. Super healthy fiber. Oh, and your dates, too. Your dates have so much potassium in them. The dates have tons of potassium. Obviously, they have fiber as well. And iron, too, and other great things for dates, right? Natural source of sugar, obviously. And then your plums, too. So the plums are really super beneficial for I can't remember. I think it's A and C, as well as your fiber and all kinds of good things. It's just all kinds of good things. Yeah, it's not something that I use a lot, so sometimes I have a hard time remembering all the vitamins and minerals in certain things that I don't use a lot. So, anyways, it's good stuff. And so what we're going to do is we are going to take a spoon and sprinkle a little bit of the clean spoon. We're going to sprinkle a little bit of the oats on top. And these are raw oats. So, you know, depending on your digestive system, sometimes a person will do better. If you have a sensitive digestive system, you might do better with soaked or cooked oats. So it all depends on your digestive system, right? So all of these things. We did lots of tons of work with fermented foods, and if you're having a digestive issue, you really need to be eating digestive fermented foods, anything fermented, because it'll heal the whole intestinal tract, help with digestion. Obviously, it's got the friendly bacteria, it's probiotic, helps with the immune system, and there are lots of other herbs that will help you to heal your digestive system so that you're not so sensitive. But that's a whole nother lecture. That's like a whole nother, that has lots of information, because, you know, we talk about lectins and things too. and nightshades and other inflammatory foods, but really the inflammation is your body. It's not as much the food as it is what's going on in your own body. And so we work with ways to heal your body so that you're not so reactive and inflammatory. Okay, so typically a person would add brown sugar to this. I'm just going to casually, very gently add some of the coconut sugar. So this is just not even, it's like a quarter of an eighth of a cup that I put in there. Just enough to sprinkle to make it look nice. It'll taste good too. And then a little bit of cinnamon on top. So we're going to do this with our little cinnamon. So basically what you can do two things with this. I could, if you wanted to, I could crush up the walnuts and sprinkle it on top too. If you wanted to, I'm not going to do that, but you could. And the other thing is you can put this in the fridge and you can have it raw and cold, except that the plums are cooked, of course, but you can have it just as like a cold square in the fridge, let it firm up a bit. Or you can put it in the oven if you want to. If you want to cook these oats, you could put it in the oven a little bit, you know, for maybe 20 minutes, half an hour, and just let it firm up that way for a dessert. So you can use it either way. Okay, just looking at the comments here. I think I'm caught up on the comments there. Yeah, so you can use it either way. And you know, it's easy to do things like this with your with dates and nuts. You could do another recipe, and maybe we will, with just the dates and the walnuts and crush that in the bottom. Of course, you can use other nuts as well. And the other thing you could do is like what we did the other day was with the apples. I made an apple pie filling, and we did that. And so you could actually do the nut date crust on the bottom and put the apple pie filling on top, and then cover it with you know, with the oats and stuff like that. And just, oh my god, there's just so many things. So yeah, so that's it for today. I'm just going to go over for the new people that came on. We started off with the beautiful beets here. We splashed beets everywhere, got beet hands and everything. Super easy. Cook the beets, hot boiling water, tender to where you can put a fork, you know, easily in the middle but not mushy. And then put them in cold water and the skin slip off, and then slice them up and put maple syrup, cinnamon, and apple cider vinegar, I remembered, to make a little beet salad. And then we talked about these beets. We talked about beet greens that we're dehydrating, beet greens for soups and for food for the winter, which is going to be super, super important. This winter, you want, all the food you can possibly get. The mullein plant, you guys, this is super good for the lungs, very healthy. Mullein tea, I would never be without it. Yeah, this has saved me many, many, many times, and a lot of people that I know that have lung issues, this is like the gold. It really is. So, so get some, and if you want a plant, I do have a few available. Or you can buy the tea at Healthy Habits, or the just the mullein leaves or whatever. I do have some for sale. It's not something I carry all the time, but if you're interested, let me know and I'll try and hook you up. Okay, so and the beautiful plum date snack. I can't wait to try that. Okay, we'll see you guys tomorrow morning. Get out there in the sun, but not too long. It's going to be really hot. Actually, you know what? Stay in the shade. I'm just looking out there. Yeah, I remember now. It is going to be too warm to be out there. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow morning. Share the videos. Check out my Instagram, and all these videos are on my YouTube channel as well. So check that out and subscribe. Okay, we'll see you tomorrow morning. Have a great day.